So thank you for joining us for transforming your events using combined data.
All right. Yes.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. Welcome and thank you for attending our webinar today. We are so excited that you were able to take some time out of your day to join us and learn more about our topic on transforming your events using combined event data. My name is Melissa Williamson, and I'm a business analyst for Aplusify. I'm also joined today by Gill, who will be the primary star of the show, as he has a very impressive and extensive background with the event arena. Gill, can you please introduce yourself?
Thanks, Melissa. So as Melissa said, my background is in events and conferences over the last 20 years, and I have done special events, corporate events, citywide events, international events all over the country. And it's been a range of logistics, F&B, housing management. I've worked with platforms over the past few years. You'll see Cvent in my bio, Eva, and I've also been an education director for a medical organization and ensuring that we have ACCME compliance, but the educational component along with the conference and putting together large scale conferences was a nice match to really give me the vantage point that I have now, which is really what we're going to be talking about over the next few slides. And I'll kick this back over to you, Melissa.
Awesome. Thank you, Gil. So the goal of today's webinar is to address the traditional challenges most associations face with management of their event, membership, and other departmental data, and how bringing all those data sets into a centralized location will greatly benefit not only your event efforts, but your association's success overall. So a few key pain points your association might be facing regarding events are your ability to predict or forecast event success. So the absence of unified data source to predict event attendance and member engagement. The lack of personalized content at events. The inability to personalize attendee experience at scale based on your members' preferences and their behaviors. Manual event process inefficiencies. So the time and the effort that it takes to do manual analysis, event management, post-event follow-up, and engagement tracking, this creates those inefficiencies and it decreases your member satisfaction. Underutilization of data, so missed opportunities from insufficient use of data to enhance, your future events or provide value for your sponsors. And there's also disconnected systems and departments. So the inability to break down department silos from different departments such as marketing, membership, events, finance, etc., to plan and execute more successful events and create satisfied attendees. But what if you analyzed all data sets under a unified platform and using the magic of AI-powered tools to predict attendance, tailor content, or drive deeper engagement by delivering personalized value to members before the event even begins, creating a relevant and more attractive event experience, from start to finish. So you're in luck today because our expert on this topic is up next and will help you navigate through all the event-related responsibilities and help you revolutionize the way you approach your events. Take it away, Gil.
Thank you, Melissa. And I think that really encapsulates a lot of what we're about to talk about, which is how do we make things easier for the planner? How do we break down silos for the organization? And I wanted to have this slide because this slide, all of us should be familiar with a lot of these logos, a lot of the brands, Cadmium, ExpoCAD, Cvent, eShow, all of these I've worked with at one point or another throughout my career, but all of them I've worked with separately. So if I needed to get speaker information, session information, I could export it from Cadmium. I could see all the dashboards and things inside of Cadmium, but it's not going to tell me about ExpoCAD. What are my sales looking like? What kind of information have I captured? Who has signed up for a booth? Who hasn't signed up for a booth year over year? How do I develop those sales? How do I show ROI? And then Cvent, let's say I'm using Cvent for registration, but it's not tied to any of my member data. It's not tied to perhaps a member is an attendee, which is also an exhibitor or a sponsor. all of that data, combining it, is then going to give me that 360 vantage point that I need to make real decisions. And that's really what's going to end up helping me boost my ROI, is bringing all this data together. And then perhaps I'm using Guidebook for lead retrieval, my mobile app, doing surveys. I want to know what my members are filling out, and I want all of it to come together. And I'll also mention Zoom on there as another one. These are just some of the ones that we can pull all of the data together, and put it at your fingertips so that you can then make decisions before the event, during the event, and after the event. And I mentioned Zoom because if you are doing hybrid events, you can also see all of the attendees who are joining virtually. And then if they are getting CEs or credits, you can see how long they were attending, what sessions they attended. A lot of this can be if you are doing ACC ME compliance. If you're getting audited, you can show this is all the information. You can export it, you can share it easily. So all of these, we pull in the data and we bring it together into one cohesive package. And what we're doing is we're bringing it together for you. So we do the work. I know Melissa mentioned AI and all of these latest tools. We put it all together and we put it at your fingertips. It's not, you're now going to have to learn what AI is and how to use it. We're giving you the tools, we're building it out for you. And then you can then just come to, I've pulled up the events overview where you can see, I'm sure you've all seen this, where you have your total registrations, your paid registrations, location, ticket types, all of the different things. But what we do is we can also get into the granular of what were the ticket types, who I can get all the way down into this attendee paid at the early bird rate for the last 4 or 5 years. I've noticed that they haven't paid yet, so this will connect with marketing. So marketing, we can either automate, or marketing can send out a campaign for all of the typical early bird registrants, and then they can reach out and they can get them registered. I can track, whether I have low attendance and why is it low? Is it typically low? Maybe I'm doing West Coast and East Coast, and typically the East Coasters won't register until the advanced rate. This is all information that we provide to you. So we kind of take the data, the analytics, and then we're providing it to you. Where in my experience, I would have all the data after the conference. I would have my team for the next, after the conference, for 2 or 3 weeks, putting together all that information into a binder, and then I could present it to the board. But I would have to analyze all of that data. We're doing all of that for you, and we're bringing it into one central location, which is critical, so that I can then see. And this is an example of some of the more granular, where you can see percentages. If I click on one of these, it will show me, all the attendees that have registered, perhaps at a board rate, at a sponsor rate, at exhibitor rate, at your early bird, advanced, regular rate, all of the different details that I may need to know. And it will also present you with an action item of perhaps this needs to be done as far as marketing to this subgroup, or perhaps I need to figure out exactly why my registration numbers are lower. Or if they're higher, now I can start showing my sponsors and exhibitors. Perhaps I have 500 attendees coming from Florida, and I have exhibitors who typically come from Florida. I can say, look, not only would I exhibit again this year, but you're going to want to sponsor, because we have people coming specifically from your area. And that's how you're going to build your ROI in tandem with, let's say, your mobile app data, what people are clicking on your website. And this shows a little bit of that data of social media, how you're pulling in your registrations, the social media, what kind of marketing campaigns are bringing in registrants, and where are they coming from around the country. And then each one of these is clickable, and you get down into the granular again of where are they coming from, what are they interested in. And speaking of interested in, let's talk about programming and engagement, because this is another part of the attendee member experience, where your attendees are attending sessions year over year. They're seeing different speakers come to the conference each year. My conferences had 300 plus sessions. So we had to track the speakers, whomever had rated those speakers, rated the sessions. And so what you can see here is some of the responses. And perhaps I know based on what I'm seeing that this subgroup of attendees went to these specific sessions or a track. And maybe the following year, we're going to be on the East Coast, and that subgroup doesn't typically go to the East Coast annual conference. But what I would do is take a look at that track. Maybe I'll provide an advanced track for the following year, and I'm going to start pulling those people to the East Coast. That's going to increase your attendance. That's also going to increase the quality of your programming, because now I can easily see which speakers really resonated with my attendees, which sessions really resonated with my attendees, and how to get them to the conference. And that's really what I want to do. I want to provide a quality, meaningful experience. And as I don't want to say a byproduct, but as part of that, it ends up boosting my attendance, which then boosts my revenue, and just really creates that long-term membership experience. And that's exactly what we want to do. So for the speaker performance analytics and tailored speaker content and some of the feedback loops there. And this is another one that will show, again, if I click on some of these, it'll show you your poll responses, the average feedback scores. We're pulling this, again, from all of those different tools that you're currently using. In my experience, I have never been able to find one single tool that will accommodate all of my needs. It doesn't have a mobile app plus the session management, speaker management, abstract management, all of the different registration. I don't have one single tool. And so each one of those, again, is siloed with all their different data points. And what we're doing is pulling all of that data into one central location, applying some of the latest technology, the predictive AI, generative AI, all the different tools to be able to support the conference and support your efforts, minimize the time that you spend doing all of the analyzing. We do it for you. We set it all up for you. And with the goal in mind of creating a very robust, a very quality conference for your attendees and your members. And so one of the other things that I've struggled with over the years is being able to show the ROI for exhibits and sponsorship. With the data coming in, I can actually provide more of a quantitative data package to show them, look, this is the amount of attendees that are viewing your pages. This is the amount of leads that you had, the traffic that you're getting. I'm pulling all of that information from several different areas, and I can show them a better picture and quantify that ROI for them in a way in which we haven't been able to do before. I can say, look, I have 10,000 attendees coming to the conference. And of course, they're going to see maybe your stickers and your clings and your key cards for the housing and all of that other stuff. But do I know that to be true? Or can I also say, and on top of that, you've had 500 clicks on your logo, you've had several other areas of the social media and the visibility. I can show all of that, but I can do it easily. And I can do it as a conference planner. All I have to do is click a few buttons. Our developers are the ones that would set that up for you. And then I also wanted to just quickly mention housing. Housing is an important one, especially if you're doing, it's important, period. But it is even more difficult if you're doing a citywide and you have 5, 10, 15 properties that you're using in a location where you need to manage all of your blocks. And I know that your housing bureau helps you manage those, but what I use this for and what it's useful for is to be able to see who are my attendees that typically book early, who book closer to the event, closer to the cutoff dates, And I need to be able to connect with marketing. I want marketing to be reaching out to these individuals and maybe recommending a specific property so that I start filling the blocks the way that I need to. And also, part of this is bringing everything into a central location and being able to launch campaigns that are connected to this data. So that's also going to help you be able to manage your housing and mitigate a lot of that liability and using the tools that you have. And just some of the key takeaways from today, I wanted to cover, just how are you increasing the revenue? I know it's a quick presentation. I have so much more to share. But increasing the revenue, reducing your workload, reducing your team's workload, that was our goal. And enhancing the attendee experience, providing proactive responses on site. There's so much with the sessions that can be done with those. And then the rest of them, and really breaking down silos within the organization as well, just by combining all of your data and applying the latest technology. And then just wanted to pause here and see if there were any questions.
No questions at the moment. So while we have time to wait for those to come in, we just wanted to thank you so much for attending our webinar today and greatly appreciate you taking the time to join us. Again, we would love any questions that you may have at this time. Thank you.
Well, I'm waiting for a question. I will say that with breaking down the silos, so your marketing team, you're working with them. My experience is the executive director or membership or programming will generally ask regularly, how many attendees do we have? What's our numbers look like? They are able to, if you want them to, be able to view this information. Marketing can get in there and be able to make proactive decisions on subgroups of who they want to target. Maybe Montana has a chapter and they're sending people from Montana year over year, and we're noticing we're down. There's down 50, and we need to reach out to that chapter and say, why isn't your group coming this year, or have you just not registered? And marketing can take care of all of those things because we're putting those tools, we're making those tools available to them to be able to make those decisions. All of that information is also being put into the contacts for the membership. So let's say I know Melissa is well versed in membership, and she can go into the member database. She can look up me, for instance, and I can see all of the history. I can see what events I've attended, what sessions I've attended, what CEs, what certificates I've gotten, what surveys I filled out. All of that history is now providing a more robust setup for you to be able to strategically market, to strategically build your conference. And I know a lot of it's been, for me, it was a lot of guesswork, a lot of, using my experience to say, well, I can reduce this lunch by X number, save some money, and I'm thinking this is going to work. But really, with our data, with everything coming in, you're making these decisions based on real data, real-time data that's coming in. So I wanted to share that as well.
Right. And to add to that, because I am from membership, 10 years of an association, if I would have had not having to run around different departments or sending out an email like, hey, can you send me who's attended what and what they've done in the past and who's filled out this survey and all this. If I had it in one central location, then I'd be for renewal time, I'd have all that information and I could send out, this is where you've contributed. This is where you could participate more. And it just makes your life easier because it's in one central location and you don't really have to do all of that hard work and running around and pulling out your hair. So to Gill's point, it just makes your life a lot easier. And I wish my association had this before I had left. So we hope that this information also helps you, and we would love to, connect with you afterwards and continue this conversation, provide more demos, bring in that AI and those power tools and aspects into it and give you those kind of demos. So thank you again for joining us. If there are no questions, I think we are good to go. Gill?
Great. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time. Hopefully, we made it quick, and I really appreciate it. I look forward to hearing
Yeah,
from you.
thank you.